Felix here, and welcome to this pre-market live stream. I want to walk you through, and let me ask you a question. Would it be helpful for you if you knew what JP Morgan's most reliable indicator is and that it just flashed? Would that be helpful to you as I make myself a little smaller here? I want to walk you through that. I also want to give you JP Morgan's actual sector buy list. They go through every sector and they tell you whether people are buying it or not, momentum wise, from their live trading desk. And then I'm gonna give you two stocks that I love right now, sweet love. One stock that I don't love yet, but that we need to watch. Actually, no, I don't love that stock yet. And then I give you a bonus stock to watch, which I think could really blow up. And then I'll share with you my Tesla trade today. If the market's open by then, I'll actually put it through here. And let me know if that's helpful. Would that be helpful? Do you want to hear it? Do you want to see it? And put a yes or something like that in the chat. Write yes in the chat so I know you're alive and awake and not a bot. So shall we get into it? Let's get into it here, right? This is JP Morgan's Emma Wu. I have not met Emma Wu, but I'm sure she's delightful. She says, we find the market generally outperforms following extreme retail buying. Lots of yeses there. Brilliant. You guys are awake. Good morning. And it underperforms after extreme retail selling in the short term. And the indicator became particularly evident since 2020, since retail is, does that make me a communist? Probably, right? And it's even more pronounced since 2023, and it's especially strong within 2 weeks. So if retail had gone absolutely nuts and just bought the most amount of stocks ever, we would expect the market to rally for the next 2 weeks. That's what Emma is saying. Dear, delightful Emma. Now, you want to see the data? You want to see the data? Yeah, okay. I'm not going to make you suffer through this. This is retail sentiment, and the retail buying is basically the same chart. I didn't want to give you two charts, but we're here. We need a brighter color pen there, don't we? We're there, okay? That, if you were to draw a straight line, would be the highest level in 4 years. I'm not going to get political here. Don't worry. I know the 4 years is tempting, but no, this is not a political channel. At least not yet. So, interesting, right? So retail has just bought the dip more than ever. And I didn't put the chart in because it basically looks exactly like this. It's gone absolutely through the moon. And according to JP Morgan, we should therefore be having 2 beautiful, glorious weeks ahead, which might well be true. Now, you can also see just how much money is in there. Retail household, US households, now 30% of all total assets are now owned by, are now in stocks. And that's the highest, it's higher than 2000. So it's really, really up there. Now, does that mean it's a bubble and all of that? No, I don't think so. I think retail has just realized, we have realized the best place to put our money is basically stocks because it's easy. It's more profitable than most other things out there. And, it's just very, very easy. Real estate can be good if you've got high, cheap debt. Yeah, I think that's going to be a good place. Not tired of winning yet? No, not at all. Things are looking pretty good today. So that looks pretty sweet, right? So the question then is, of course, well, what do we buy? Given that we're going to have 2 very, very good weeks, what do we buy? So I'm going to help you out on that in 2 forms. One, I'm going to give you JP Morgan's shopping list. And second of all, I'm running a live masterclass this Saturday morning, New York time, 9 a.m. For all you people who have jobs. So yes, you have to get out of bed by 9 a.m., but you can be in your PJs. And I will not just teach you how we find breakouts, how we exit at the right moment, but I'll also give you something I've been thinking about for a little while. There's a little bonus here. I'm going to give you my VIX cheat sheet. You don't know what VIX cheat sheet is. It's the fear index. And it allows us to make money when the market goes up, and it allows us to make money when the market goes down. Basically, it allows us to make money pretty much all the time. And it's a very, very lazy, exceptionally low risk way of making money. And very few people understand it. And I think more people deserve to understand it. So I will, towards the end of that masterclass, I'll run an extra section on this. I will give you a downloadable cheat sheet, which I've been working on for a couple of days and that to you. Just give it to you. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just there for the taking. If you want it, what are you going to do? You got to sign up at felixprehn.org/webinar, grab yourself a free seat, and actually show up, of course. Otherwise, you won't get the download. Should we be worried about non-farm payrolls? There's unemployment data out today, and it's boring. So no, I don't think we should be too worried about the non-farm payroll. This here is JP Morgan's cheat sheet, and you're very welcome to take screenshots of this. There's a second half to this, but I think probably the thing that is most interesting to most of you is technology, right? And what they're basically saying is semiconductor sector is getting a bit wobbly. The momentum there, the sentiment isn't very good. Even software is getting hit a little hard there. We've seen that with Microsoft. But there are some things that they do like. Internet stocks and payment stocks, which is kind of interesting, right? And I'll come back to the semi story in a second because there's one stock I want us to look at. They're basically saying, yeah, the whole DeepSeek thing is kind of like shaking people a little bit. But there's still some good stuff out there, especially in payment and internet stocks. I think that's important. Banks still performing very, very nicely. I agree with that. Biopharma and do we have a stock on that today? No, but we're working on one. I'll put out a video, I think, tomorrow on one that I think is a real gem there on the pharma front. We're still digging through tons of data and trying to make sense of it. Gaming, well, yeah, in theory, that does well. Industrials, machinery, utilities, regulated utilities, so your kind of energy companies should do quite well. And then energy majors here, services, refiners, and so on. And I agree with that. I think that whole sector is yet to flow and rally, and I think we can make a lot of money there for that. Cybersecurity sector is working. Yeah. I think, and where do you fit that? Is that software or is that internet? To me, it's probably a little bit more internet, but it's in that space, and I think you're right. I think that's gonna keep flying, in my humble opinion. So, does that make some sense to you? Does it make some sense to you? Put a 1 in the chat, so I know that this makes some sense to you and it's somewhat helpful. Brian, you want to find the breakouts before they happen? You can find them at the beginning. That's kind of the point. Like, you got to get used to that. You're never going to buy the bottom of the market. You're never going to sell the top of the market. But if you are near the bottom when you buy it and you sell near the top, then things are very, very good, right? Okay, brilliant. Thanks for all the ones. Appreciate you being lucid today. Now, this is a really interesting piece of information, and usually that precedes something really, really dull, doesn't it? Children, this is very, very interesting. You must pay attention, but this is genuinely very, very useful. Who's René Haas? René Haas is the CEO of ARM. You know who ARM is? The guys who make chips for your phones and so on. They're basically a chip designers. So they don't make them, but they make a little license fee on every chip sold out there. And what he says is that Stargate, remember Trump's Stargate project, morphing into one person, aren't they? He's saying, look, it's a very, very big infrastructure project. 100 billion will be invested immediately. And it's a partnership with OpenAI and Oracle and SoftBank. And for ARM, we're extremely excited to be the CPU of choice for such a platform. Combined with Blackwell CPU with Grace, ARM will be the CPU of choice for the initial configuration. Incredibly exciting. It's a significant opportunity and a very significant both in terms of their impact for the industry and a significant opportunity for our company. So it's kind of interesting for ARM, right? So I think ARM is probably one we should be watching, and I had a chart open here for ARM, which is this. And did we have a breakout? Yeah, we had a breakout here. So let me highlight what I'm talking about here. You guys, you understand what I'm talking about. This was the first breakout. Breakouts tend to come down again. Now, this one came down too low, so we would have actually probably gotten out of that. But then it's giving us a second shot up here, again on pretty decent volume, still above the recent highs. And the story there is pretty good. Now, today, it's trading at the lower end of that range, so we have to kind of see whether that story holds up. But I think there is something there. and it's also massively outperforming the semiconductor index. So ARM is trying to fly, which I think is an interesting one to look at. Not loving that this didn't go higher than that, but let's give this one another day, and I'll definitely be watching this one. I would definitely add to my watch list. Now, this is another quote here, and today is a day of meaningful, insightful, incredibly important quotes, because understanding these really, really helps. Sweet and sour. I took my first Tesla options trade yesterday. I'm down $500. I'm pissed. What's your options trade, my friend? Sweet and sour. Most of the time, the trades we set up, they are down on day one, but it depends very much on what you set up there, obviously. But if you expect to make money on day one, kind of wouldn't be trading, because it's not really a realistic outcome. It's very, very rare that we make money on day one of setting up a trade. We need to have a little bit of a longer time horizon there. Okay, this one here. This is Uber CEO. He says autonomous alone in the US can be $1 trillion market, which is exactly what Elon's saying the tech is getting there. It says Dara, and I shall not try to pronounce that surname because Osrof Shahi. Where's that from? Some sort of Sri Lankan or something. So does that mean we're going to buy Uber? No. Although there is some reason you might say for that. Here, this is an interesting one. It's trading at 20 times free cash flow, high growth, high margins, lots of free cash flow. It looks pretty good, but I don't think they're the right play. I think they'll do very well, but I think it leads to one simple conclusion, which is, well, who's the leader in autonomous driving? Well, it's Tesla. So why not just own Tesla, right? Why own the sort of derivative, the customer of Tesla, which to me doesn't make a huge amount of sense. He comes from Iran. Okay, I was very far off in that case. Sweden, so you got a friend who's making a bit of money recently and then he is losing the most. Yeah, the trouble is that most people think they're a brilliant investor or trader, but most of the time they just got lucky. The question really is, what is your friend's strategy? What is his rule book, and where did you learn it? That's really the question. If you learned it in some sort of Reddit forum, I would wager that there is a pretty high risk that it works only when the market goes up in a straight line. But yeah, come and join me on Saturday. I'll show you exactly what I do, and then maybe you can learn a lot from that. So, Bernie, how about you short Tesla? And I'm long Tesla, and we meet again in 2 years, and we see who's better off. And then we know who was right. That's really the only way to do that. So I will actually set up a Tesla trade in a moment, which is a cautiously optimistic trade, and I'll explain that in a second as well for you options goons out there. But before we do that, make sure you're signed up for Saturday's extravaganza. We'll probably do about a 2-hour live stock investing masterclass live. I will also teach you how we keep making money out of VIX trades in a very, very, very low risk way. I'll give you a cheat sheet you can download and everything else. You walk away with that. It's completely free of charge. And Fox there, thanks for the link. I've also posted the link and I've also pinned it to the top of the chat for you guys who want to find it. So what are the other stocks then I want us to look at? Well, here is one to watch. It is Zim Shipping. Now, shipping is cyclical. It goes up and down like a lot, right? Like a lot. And what does it depend on? Well, it depends on shipping rates. And as of late, shipping has been a pain in the backside because the Houthis sort of fire safe, self-made little explosives devices at anything that goes through the Red Sea, and that isn't very good for them. But Maersk has just reported, we are one of the largest container shipping conglomerates out there, and they're basically saying good things are coming. So this stock is still on a downward trend, which is highlighted here by my purple line. And if you know me, you know that I don't buy things that are trending down like that, right? That is not a pretty line. See, each high is lower than the last, but it's also underperforming the the sector down here, but you can see that this is in Trade Vision. If you guys haven't got yourself a trial to Trade Vision yet, there's a link down below as well. There's a free trial to it. What are we waiting for? Well, we need to be above that darkish purple line there that I'm pointing out, this one. That's the 150-day moving average line. If we break out above that, then I think we're potentially back in business. If we break out above this white line here at sort of 2350 with some volume, then I think this could be a really, really sweet run up. I think there is a good chance that El Presidente, Donald Trump, will figure out something with the Iranians. If anybody can negotiate with the Iranians, it's Trump, who are the guys who are supplying the Houthis, right? So if you put an end to that madness, then Zim, I think, is gonna blow up. So I'm putting this on my watch list to watch, because it's a classic, and it's a really classic. If you watched my masterclass previously, you will recognize this pattern, right? This kind of thing, right? So that's exactly what we want, and then all we need to do is meaningfully break through it. And then we kind of buy it basically there. That's sort of our entry point. So I'll be watching this one. I think it'd be very, very useful. Pays a 26% dividend. Does not send alarm bells. No, it's just a cyclical business. They won't do it forever. Sometimes they make a lot of money. Sometimes they don't. But it's I'm not saying buy it and hold it to the end of time. I'm saying consider understanding the chart, and then we'll use it when it runs up, and then we exit it when it doesn't, which is sort of the point here. So to give you an example, the last breakout we had on this that we called was here, which is maybe a little late. I think actually we could have gotten in here, if you ask me. Sometimes the algorithm isn't 100% perfect. The human brain is still better. So I would have argued buying it here was a good point, and then we would have exited, if I'm permitted to draw a straight line, somewhere, hang on, somewhere sort of there. It's not a straight line, but yeah, you wanted to get out on that candle here. So probably you would have exited here. So that was your buy, that was your sell. So you would have gone from about 1250 to about, I don't know what that is, 20, right? And that's pretty sweet if you do that in the space of like 2 weeks. So that's what we're looking for. We're not looking for a, marry us kind of type thing. We're just looking for a relatively sweet, quick profit. Now, Tesla here, and I wanted to show you this one here. And this is only for my options friends, or for those of you who are curious and curiouser. Take a screenshot of this and play with this in Trade Vision. And you can see what I've done here. Selling a 330 put, buying a $400 call, and I'm selling two 450 calls, all expiring in March 21st. That might mean nothing to you, and that's completely fine. It used to mean nothing to me as well, but I was curious enough to explore this, because I was like, well, what does this mean? Tell me what it actually means in real sort of human language. Well, let me tell you what it means. It means that between this, can I draw a line? Between that, I'm going to make it green. Between that green line and between that soon to be green line, in that whole range, I make money. I can make it blue again, never mind. You get the idea. So basically what I'm saying is the stock can go all the way up to about $500, or it can actually go down to 330, 324 actually, and I make money in between, potentially really quite a lot of money, potentially 1,000% at the sweet spot, which is unlikely, but quite likely we're going to make some money. So very likely, in fact, 72% probability that we'll make money on this one. So that's the sort of cool stuff you can do once you sort of advance a little bit beyond charts, and really worthwhile. That's what I'm saying, because it becomes fun once you get to that level. It takes a little bit of time, I'm not going to lie to you, to learn that, but it's a very, very, very cool setup. What happens if it goes beyond above $504? Well, I close the trade on a small loss. So that's what I do. Are you still in your Finance of America trade? Yes, I am actually. I checked it earlier. It's still open. Yeah, it's still open. John Smith, beautiful play. I mean, there's a risk with it, right? It could, it could crash and burn and collapse. It's entirely possible, or we could get a freakish rally before March. But I wouldn't be in it till the end of March. That'd be my first point. I'll be in it only for maybe about 20 days. And the likelihood that something extraordinarily positive is going to happen to Tesla that'll take it up $130 is somewhat unlikely, right? So even if it went up $100, I would actually get pretty much to my sweet spot where I make the most money. Which is possible, say, nationwide federal autonomous driving regulation or something like that. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here. So that was one idea. Uber, I don't like it, and I wanted to tell you why. I thought earnings were pretty decent, but can anybody tell me why I don't like this chart? Like, just shout it out in the chat. Any reasons why you don't like this chart? And I'm going to give you some little pointers so you can shout out things that I'm pointing at. Anybody know volume below 50 million? Yeah, like a date slider in TradeVision J. It's coming. It's coming. You mean so we can see what happens during the dates, right? Yeah, that's coming. It's already in beta. Yeah, it's below the 200, 150, 50 precisely. It's just, yeah, it's the moving average. The 50-day one is falling down, and then we have the 150, and we're well below that. So it is in a naughty place right now. So I don't touch it. I think there is potential here. I think they could do very well. But if you then zoom out a little bit, you will also see massive resistance here. And if this means nothing to you, join me Saturday. Seriously, I'll break it down for you. By Saturday, I mean felixprehn.org/webinar. Link is down below in the description. It's also pinned to the top of the chat as well. The death cross there, yeah, that's also a fair point. That's a fair point as well. Below 150, Lynn's completely correct as well. Santander stock, really? The Spaniards, a Spanish bank, really? There was a research paper out by, I can't remember who, one of the banks about a week ago that said they thought European banks were an opportunity. I thought there might be an opportunity to lose a lot of money. So I'm a little cautious on European banks. Yeah, that's just my view. I'm very cautious on that. Have you looked at Philip Morris? I have not. No, I have not. Have they made more children addicted to some sort of non-smoking product? Up 9%. Woohoo! Why do I say woohoo? I own quite a bit of this. Very unethical company. Yeah, nice breakout. They just deliver, right? You make people addicted to stuff. It's a horrible business, but it just makes a lot of money. PayPal's going to explode 2025, 2026. That's my hope as well. Actually, even if it just sort of, yeah, I'm hoping it's going to go up somewhat. Can we talk about SoFi? Yeah, everyone's panicking so easily, right? Which is the stock. This is a stock that's up very significantly. Let me just load it here, right? Like, we call the breakout at 975, so we're up like 60%. We're not exactly complaining about this. And if you don't believe it, we have I can show you the trade. Again, in TradeVision, you can track your trades. Options open. Where is it? SoFi, it's up. It's up in an infinity amount, it says. Well, it's up quite a lot, 200-something% plus. So, yeah, I don't get what people are complaining about this. It's just going sideways. That's really all it is. I mean, unless you bought it at the very top of the market at $18, be very few people who are actually down on SoFi here. I mean, unless, again, you bought in 2022. But very unlikely. Most people don't have that kind of patience. So I don't really understand what this is all about. What about Argentinian banks? Yeah, that's a similar thing. I personally wouldn't touch it. But doesn't mean it isn't a great trade. I'm just, just very, very cautious. John, you bought a Tesla Leap. What was IV percent when you bought that Tesla Leap, my friend John? You want a 10-day MA. What do you use a 10-day MA for? I don't know anyone who uses a 10-day MA, my friend. You bought SoFi as a SPAC. Okay, you've been in that for a long time then. Google. I don't know about Google. I'm not a I think out of the big boys, I'm more of a fan of Microsoft and Amazon. People obviously weren't impressed by earnings. We're below that trend line now, flirting with the 50-day moving average line. It's not amazing. I don't know really. I think, yeah, I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure that they are like the. I'm a little bit worried about their search. I have not used Google in about 3 weeks. I just search on Grok, and it's way better. Way better. It's faster. It just gives me the answer. I don't have to crawl through like pages and pages and pages. So I'm a little worried that they're going to lose some of the market share there. You know, like sort of an IBM type thing. Nvidia is still looking quite sweetly, partially because Google is spending a lot of money on Nvidia. All the big boys say they're going to spend a lot of money on Nvidia, and it's somewhat helping. But we're still below the 150, so we need to break out of that 129 sort of zone to actually give this some life back. Use Bollinger Bands? Not really. We have them in here somewhere, but I don't really use them. No, I'm not really a Bollinger sort of kind of a person. Use Google every day, says John. You're still bearish on it. Yeah, no, seriously, try Grok. It's amazing. I mean, it's just, and it's on my phone. It's I always use X, so it's just easy. It gives me an actual answer. It's like kind of thought out. Stereo sound, my friend. Thank you very much. I think we managed to fix the sound, right? I kind of battled with it a little bit today. BBAI, yeah, I like a breakout more than the next guy. But I was a little worried that it might be a little overdone, but it is up again this morning. It is up again this morning. So the proof will be in the pudding of volume today, whether that's overdone. I know a lot of people who think that this is massively overvalued, but that doesn't mean it won't keep running. So it depends, really. Why are you using the 150, not the 200? We have the 200 in here. I tend not to use it. Honestly, there isn't that much difference. Look how small the difference is. So for me, the 150 is just like basically my mentor originally used the 150, and I kind of stuck with it, and it works very, very well. So we all have somebody we learn from, and he'd done this for a couple of decades, and he was doing it very, very, very well, and is very wealthy and retired, and so I kind of thought, well, it's worked for him that long, then I think it'll probably work for me, and it continues to work very well for me. Grok spelling, exactly like you spelled it, Mark. It's built into X, which is Twitter, but there's also a separate Grok app, but you don't need it. You just use the X app, and it's built into that. And I really love it. I just really love it. Like literally, going on a trip on Sunday, and you just type in, hey, give me the top 5 restaurants that are vegetarian friendly, that are high end, and within a 30-minute driving range from the hotel I'm staying in. Right, try that with Google. It can't do that because Google can't reason. So then I have to trawl through stuff, look at maps, look at, so it just doesn't really work. So yeah, saves a huge amount of time. Really, really big fan. Let's get ready to rumble. Minute till the market opens. Fox is reminding us to join the live webinar on Saturday, where I will not just walk you through live on a weekend, so you guys with the jobs can join, so that you can learn how to spot the good breakouts and exit when it starts to, before it turns sour. But also I want to show you how we make money with VIX trades, because that is just such a sweet thing. VIX is just the thing that almost nobody understands out there, like almost nobody understands out there. But I've been very lucky. I've had people who understand this. I've got some mentors who understand this and trade this regularly and make a lot of money out of this. And it's a range bound stock. It's not a stock, it's a futures contract. It never goes up in the long run. Actually, it goes down in the long run. That's its structure. So the beautiful thing is that when it's up, we can make money as it comes down. And then when it goes down, we know it's going to go up with very, very high regularity. And therefore, we make money when it goes up. And then again, we make money when it goes down. So it's just a beautiful thing. Nothing to do with stock prices or earnings or anything really. It's just sort of an indicator of how much the market's moving. It's just a beautiful, beautiful way to make money, I think. Did you try Google's Gemini? Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan, to be honest. Is there 4-hour chart and trade vision? We have an hour, 5 minutes, and 1 minute. No, we haven't got 4 hours yet. If there's a huge demand for it, we can obviously add it. We have a year's chart. I'm not quite sure why we have a year's chart, but I guess we can zoom out some more. Any biotech suggestions, Nicholas? I will do a video on one tomorrow. We are still, I think it's a great pick, but I'm just trawling still through some research and some approvals and some FDA stuff and a bunch of other things, and I want to put it together in a very coherent way, and it'll be out for you tomorrow. Waldo, you work Monday through Saturday, my friend. Ouch. Well, let's try and do something about that. Roblox is dumping, yes, very heavily. Less active users than expected, which is why that's dumping. But overall, this is pre-market, which is pretty good. Nvidia, Amazon, pretty good. Everything else flat. Tesla was down a little bit. Let's have a look at the live then. Tesla's still down a little bit here. Let's have a look at that. And I will also set up a trade on that. I did warn you I would do that. Actually, we have a Tesla chart open already, don't we? Here we go. We're at 370. There it is, 374. So down a little bit here. Not monstrously down, but somewhat down. Which means, yeah, I still quite like our setup here. And it's probably just gotten a little bit cheaper as a result, has it? Yeah, it has. Brilliant. Actually, I had it open already. So this setup here, just to explain again, it makes me money between here and there. So I can go up or I can go down. I can go down 13%. 13%. Or I can go up 35%, and I make money in between. And I make particularly a lot of money if it goes up sort of into the 400, 450 zone. That's sort of the sweet spot. And yeah, it's a little bit of a complex trade. Not everybody understands this. Please don't try this at home. Use a paper trading account. But here is basically what we've got here. Pretty wide bid ask, hey? Let's be a little greedy on this. Whoops, what happened? There we go. Be a little greedy on this and see if we can get in for a little more here. Actually, we wanted that a little bit bigger, didn't we? Something like that. So there we go. See if that opens. We'll find out. If not, then I will adjust the price point a little bit here. But basically, it's the setup that I put on the chart here, so we can. Basically, I expect Tesla not to do very much between now and, well, the next 3 weeks, really, because I don't see the catalyst. We have earnings, we haven't got any investor days, anything like that, no product releases. The only thing that could make it fly would be regulatory changes. And even then, I doubt that we're going to go up more than, say, 20-25% in the space of a day or two, right? Which means this goes up 20%, I'll just exit and I'll take a very nice profit. So that's really the idea with that. It's a little bit tricky, but it's well worthwhile, I think. Most of them pay for Grok and that's free. Grok's free, isn't it? Isn't Grok free? No? Is that part of? I guess I pay for X. I thought Grok was free, but I might be wrong on that. What about Musk saying something? Well, it can go down 13%, or it can go up 35%. So I've got a fair bit of room there for him to say something. And of course, there's a risk with everything in life. Otherwise, we would never make any money. But we also very nicely hit that level there. And we also have a support level here at 350, which will also help. We're significantly positioned below that. So me and Winston quite like the setup. Premium only, is it? Oh, okay. No, yes, free. Says clause. Okay, there's some. Giro says it's free. I think, yeah, it's free. I think they charged for it at the beginning, and now it's free. So, you know, I'm advertising Grok here. Yeah, so that's the kind of stuff that we get up to, and it's a really beautiful way to make money. And if you're feeling a little bearish here, let me give you this little chart here. This is the US government 10-year yield. And when that goes down, as it is here, right, it's going down, then that is a beautiful thing. And it is very likely to therefore drive up the stock market. So it's coming down here, and that's very, very good. And guess what? Trump wants it to go down, right? It means they can issue government debt at lower cost. they're pushing this down essentially, and that's really, really good. Oklo is being banded about. I did see that. I thought I saw that on the breakout indicator. Did I? A couple of days back. Let me open it up. There we go. Yeah. That was one here. And this is the classic. This is a classic thing. You get a breakout like that. You always come to get the dump afterwards, and then it goes back up. It's just the sort of classic pattern here. So yeah, it looks pretty good. Volume is flattening off a little bit here. That will be my only concern. Like, if we, how far is this going to run? Who knows? A little bit late to it. $8 late to the party, I would say, which isn't terrible, but it's also not wonderful. So yeah, it looks pretty decent. It looks pretty decent. Just watch out for volume. It's definitely flying. So this was a good one. This was a good signal here. This one. Year-to-date tab. Oh, down here. Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. Although, I mean, it's about that much. 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. Kind of where you are, isn't it? Want to see year-to-date? I'm not sure it makes a huge difference. Most people just scroll. I just use the mouse scroller thing, and then it just scrolls. I'm not sure it's sort of a nail-biting, amazing feature. If I do an announcement and say, guys, guess what? The best feature ever is now out. It is the year-to-date button. I don't think it'll really fly. I'm not saying I'm against it, but I just don't think it's a thing that's going to make everybody happy. Is the historical IV available in TradeVision? Working on that, because who suggested that yesterday? I took a screenshot of it yesterday and I posted it, and we're actually working on it. Because I think that'd be cool, especially for us options nuts, right? I can never find use for the year-to-date date tab, says Logan. Okay, it's dead. Can you look at the hood? Yeah, I like to focus the developers team, and we've got about 10, 12 people on the stuff that's gonna like move the needle. I'm always like, is this gonna deliver massive value to the users? Will they go, oh my god, I'm so glad we got that. That's amazing. That's kind of what I want to focus on, rather than the little tiny things that'd be nice to have, slightly different shade of green. Robinhood's still flying. Yeah, what can I say? It's a rally. It's a rally. It's flying. It's beautiful. Breakout was here in November, and it's just yeah. You could have gotten it at $29. You would have, you'd be up 80% or something. C-Ray, okay, I'm glad you're making money. When's the app coming? Yeah, we're still tinkering. I did see some stuff today which looked very, very good. Off it. We're really getting there. But again, we just want to make sure it's really good, because thousands and thousands of people are going to use it. I want to make sure that you guys are happy and not going to be like, but Felix, what about this? Right. So, right. Tesla's still dropping a little bit. Yeah, it is down 1.66%. Nothing extreme, but it's still dropping. Yeah, 2.4% actually down now. So that means our order might get filled, which is quite good. Yeah, there we go. You see, we got filled on that order here, our crazy little setup here. So basically what it means is that if we stay above 330 sort of thing, we will make $6,000. But say we go into this zone here of maybe 430, then suddenly would make $43,000. Right. Now, we might not be quite that greedy. We might close it out a little bit sooner. And in the perfect scenario, we'd land up here at exactly 450 and we'd make $57,000. That's pretty unlikely. But, we basically wanted to stay in that sort of range. That's kind of the trade. I have a bunch of other trades open as well, which will skew this slightly. But essentially, our break-even point right now is at 316, which is not too bad. It's about $50 below where we are right now. So quite happy about that little setup here, but it's still dumping. SoFi is still dumping. Netflix losing a little today. IBKR losing a bit today, but Might is coming to life, which is nice to see. EUSE is recovering, which I expected. Microsoft's recovering, which is what I expect. PayPal still not doing very much. It's losing a percentage point here, $78, and not a lot of movement on the Bitcoin front. So we'll see. I think I'm still quite confident on those ones. Okay, a couple of requests for new holdings. Well, first of all, if you don't want to need me anymore, I'd recommend it. Come and join me on Saturday and I'll teach you how to do all of the stuff that I show you here all the time. And also teach you these magic little VIX trades that we do, which are super, super cool. And new is starting to look appealing, isn't it? Yahaha. What's the problem now with a thing like new? There's a resistance here at $14, and that's actually very, very, very good. Well called, because it isn't just the market maker selling, but it's all of these guys. That's the resistance line you got to get through. So to me, really, here at 15 is probably the attractive point for new holdings. What's the problem with new? It's isn't it Brazil, mainly where they are? I love Brazil. I had family who grew up in Brazil. I have family who grew up in Brazil. They're still alive, but it's a volatile country, put it politely. You also teach options? Yes, John. Yeah, sure. We actually have 2 options programs, one for beginners and one's for really, really, really advanced people. We've got 3 options market makers on our team. Our oldest guy has done options trading he was one of the first round of hires for the Chicago Board of Options Exchange in the early 70s. He's that old. And he's amazing. He's called Jerry. He's a lovely chap. And if you ever want to hear some war stories and really, really learn, he was a market maker for 10 years in the 80s, and then he ran hedge funds and decades. And these are the guys you can learn from. And these are the guys I learned from. And it's amazing. So yeah, that's what you get access with us. You know that's exactly what it's all about. Learn experience and real depth of understanding and experience. And you can be a complete beginner, by the way. We don't expect you to know anything at all. If you get assigned PayPal shares, will you sell covered calls? I will not get assigned PayPal shares. I will get out of them before that's going to happen. I'm not a huge fan of the wheel thing. It's okay, but it ties up your capital. If I want to own the shares, I'll buy the shares. Now, I might sell a put to buy the shares. That could be my intention. Say I want to buy Tesla today. I might sell a put instead and then wait and see if I get them. But it's generally not my primary strategy. Certainly, if I just wanted to do the trade, I won't then let it move into let's now own the shares. That's really not the outcome I wanted. Is it possible to put support and resistance levels on the screener mode, says Johnny. Interesting. I shall take a screenshot, Johnny, and we shall mull it over. I like what you're thinking. Wonder how we display that. You see, Johnny? I've taken a screenshot. Brendan is a developed knowledge as well as a CS. Yeah, he's also amazing. We have a lot of very, very good guys. What platform would you do to recommend to do shorts, Spencer? Well, first of all, we are in a bull market. I'd be very cautious on shorts. There was one thing I was actually thinking about shorting, and that is Ford. Because shitty company with terrible management and horrible levels of debt and nutty unions, to sort of summarize it in just not a lot really going for them, other than some good brand value there. But you see, the problem is when you are in a bull market, and I think we're about to enter the bull market of all bull markets, everything goes up. Even the rubbish floats to the top. So it's dangerous in those environments to short. So I usually don't, unless we really are in a miserable, depressed kind of a space, or maybe the whole car sector collapses, then we short. But my concern is just that the US economy is going to be really good. That's my concern. So that's why I kind of wouldn't. GM short of a Ford? Yeah, I mean, they're both candidates, I'd say. I think GM might have stronger brands. That was at least my feeling. I mean, I'm not American, but that's my feeling, than Ford. Microsoft finally moving? Indeed. What's the criteria for a bear market? Who decides? 3 old wise men who sit down in Washington over a pint of beer. No, I think there's a definition, 20% drop or something like that. But I look more at, what's the sector? There must be an ETF for autos or something, right? Car, is there an ETF? I don't know. say it's fintech, right? So you can look at the fintech ETF, FinX. The whole sector is collapsing, and we're down like 20%, and we're declining rapidly. Then it might be a good time to short. But at the moment, we're not. We're like near the top. Well, at least the recent top. We were higher at some point. So in that moment, right, when you are like here, and it's collapsing the whole sector, then you could make money shorting fintech stocks. But when you then enter the sort of consolidation phase down here, you don't, and you certainly don't do it on the way up. So I think that's important to understand. How do you short it? You just press sell in the broker. In a broker, there's a sell button. So any stock, say so far here, you can just hit sell. So you don't have to own it. You just hit sell. And then you sell 100 shares or whatever. I mean, I'm recommending it, but you know what I'm saying. He's holding forward for the dividend. Yeah. It's I'm not a fan of dividend investing for many reasons, and one of them is it makes people hold on to shitty companies. So since 2022, board is down 50%. Since 2022, the S&P index is up 50-something%. So the 6%, he got 12% dividends. He just bought the S&P index, he'd be up more than 50%. Plus, he would have gotten some dividends. So it's a bad idea to hold the stock for dividends. I get the simplicity of it. I get the logic of it. I get people just want income, and that's kind of rational. But it's not really a great way to generate wealth. It's sort of a scarcity mindset, really, I think. So any time horizon, you'll be able to trade via Trade Vision, says El Panic. So the steps that we've got coming up there are, you'll be able to import automatically your trades. We have a trade tracker in there, right? So you'll be able to get the information of your trades in there automatically. And we're wrangling and wrestling with brokerages on that. Once we have that, it's called an API connection going. We can then apply for an API connection in the other direction, which means we send them data. So you'll be able to press a button like buy in Trade Vision, and it'll send that order to your brokerage, Schwab or whatever it might be. And that's our goal, but it's brokers are slow, really slow, very slow beasts. How much is Trade Vision? I think it's $19.99 a month. If you subscribe for the year, it's $16 a month. And all those amazing upgrades we keep coming out with, we don't charge you for them if you're already a member. And we've done that for the original. The original subscribers are still on some crazily low subscription. So we want to keep doing that. Which brokers are holding you back? All of them, actually. Logan, I'd like to say, there is this really good one, but no, it's all of them. Literally every single one are just insanely slow in approving your API requests, which is crazy. But yeah, it's going to come at some point. Will the bull market help LVMH? Yes. Americans spend a lot more. The American luxury market will get kicked off, and it'll offset, other luxury markets that are declining. Logan's laughing. But anybody who works at a brokerage, seriously, let me know. We'd love to talk to you, and see if we can accelerate something here. Tracy says it's worth it. Appreciate that, Tracy. I hope your 5 dogs are doing all right. Why isn't he talking about SMCI anymore? I rarely talk about SMCI. You're like, why did he say this? The funniest thing is you see these comments in the videos and people who obviously just read the titles, which are not usually descriptive of the video content. I think by now you probably figured that out. You have to actually watch the videos with me, because I have to make silly titles because everybody else does. I tried not making silly titles, but then nobody watches it and then nobody learns anything. So we embrace the fun titles, and we continue with solid information. Yeah, SMCI is still a falling knife. I would say the 50-day, the 150 is still sloping down. So I would be cautious. One I always think of when I see SMCI is MSTR for some reason. I know it's got nothing to do with it. It is now rebranded as Strategy B for Bitcoin, and it's consolidating. I'm hopeful. But hope is not a strategy. I appreciate that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Bitcoin regulation. Your cat Nora knows my voice. I'll give her a stroke behind the ears or under the chin. Do you ever do futures trading? I don't often. I have a couple of futures traders as our head coaches. I mean, VIX is a futures product, for example. So I'll teach you a bit about that on not just a bit, teach you a lot about that on Saturday if you come and join me at felixprehn.org/webinar. But it's pretty similar to trading stocks. If you're trading the index, the S&P or something, I get why you might want to do it on the futures, but I'm not sure there's a huge advantage for, at least for most people who are sort of beginners. A video about strategies in the bull market would be great. Okay, interesting. Nora the investing cat. Alrighty, my friends. Any other questions? Any final questions here? Rolling can be painful. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of rolling, I would say. VIX is getting nicely lower now. Yeah, 1550. I think the VIX might not go down to 13. I think Trump will give us too much excitement to kind of bring us back down into sort of the pre-Trump era lows here of the sort of 12, 13. So I think it won't go that much lower, but we'll see. We talk about that on Saturday. Come and join me there, felixprehn.org/webinar. We'll have fun for probably about 2 hours or so of teaching and running through breakouts and exits and answering your questions and teaching you how to set up these really, really cool range-bound trades where we just make money all the time. And I love you for watching. I love you for tuning in. I wish you a brilliant, beautiful day. Make sure you're signed up for Saturday while we still have spots, felixprehn.org/webinar. And I